Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talking Wolves. Hope you guys are keeping well and safe. And we're here today for the final word on Arsenal. Well, Wolves 2. Arsenal won a very dramatic game yesterday. I'm going to be alongside a number of guests, as always, and trying to dissect the events of last night's victory. Finally, Wolves ending that winless run. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and we'll flag up your questions throughout the stream as well. And hopefully you enjoy it this evening. Our first guest today is Mr. Tom Parker. Tom, how you keeping, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Much more positive after yesterday's result, considering the run of form we've been on. I think we needed a little bit of luck just to get 3 points. So
Yeah. It was good. Good to finally get 3 points, wasn't it? I mean, been such a long time. What your sort of immediate thoughts after the game on that win?
I thought we were fortunate in spells. I think the first half was really well. Let's be honest, the defending in the first half was really poor. I was worried about seeing Kilman on the left hand side, and you could tell that they were going to expose that. I mean, Thomas Partey had a lot of time and space on the ball, which was one thing I noticed. And he was constantly playing that pass in between Bolly and Kilman, and Saka was getting in that gap every single time, and it was causing us a lot of problems. We couldn't really deal with it. I thought Bolly was. Oh, I didn't even realise that. I didn't even realise I'd done that. There you go.
Put up on there. There you go. That's the first
There,
one.
there you go. There you go. I thought Bolly on the whole was actually pretty impressive. Hence, I gave him an 8, I think, in my match ratings, which fair enough. Some people might disagree with because the defence was poor, but I don't think Bolly himself was actually really at fault for the goal. I don't think he was.
No, I don't think he was really involved in that spell. Yeah.
He was dominant in the air, and really, Arsenal didn't get a sniff too much in the second half. I think we controlled the left-hand side a lot better. I think our problem is, particularly, Nelson Semedo, a lot of people have been talking about him. The right-hand side's a bit of a point of weakness. It was defensively last year as well, because Adama and Doherty aren't blessed with that much defensive quality. But and I think we're having a similar problem this year. I think the problem is, though, Adama is getting back a lot less than he did last year. That's one thing I've realised, is that even last year, Adama still made an effort to actually get back and help Doherty out. But Semedo quite really hasn't had that support from him in games. He looks very exposed, and I think that's probably why he's sort of been singled out. I thought he was actually good. I gave him a 7. I thought he was really solid. Apart from the mistake, I can't really complain about his performance. People will obviously highlight that because it led to a goal. And obviously, that does change the surface of the game. But on the whole, I actually thought he was good. He offered us a really good outlook going forward. And I thought he was.
I thought Adama's work rate was all right yesterday. He seemed to want to help back a lot more. I know you said probably you're right, throughout the season he's not really been defending as much, but his work rate, he just seemed a lot more on it yesterday, actually. I think that helped Wolves a lot overall, and I think if he can start putting in those sort of performances like he did yesterday more consistently, and the way he was taking players on, where we haven't seen that all season, have we? The times, the amount of times he was at left back, Cedric, he knocked it past Cedric and beat him every single time. I think he completed 11 dribbles overall throughout the game, so I thought he had a really positive game overall. The other winger had a positive game. You put Neto down, I think, as a 9 out of 10 on your player ratings. What impressed you about Neto's performance last night?
His directness is something that rivals Adama, I think. And one of the things that I'd picked out on and picked up upon was that Arsenal doubled up on him a lot quicker than they did with Adama, which I think really sort of tells you something about how good Neto actually is. I think he's deceptively strong, a little bit like Jota in that sense. You look at two players of Jota and Neto stature, and you don't think that they're going to be as physical. But I'm actually, if you look at it on the face of the game, they're a lot more physically dominant than Adama is. Adama goes down a lot for someone of his size, and that's fair enough. He gets hacked down all the time, but Neto, so good. When he's working back, he gets the ball, he bombs up and down. He's a little bit like a wing back sometimes, but he's just so direct. He knows what to do when he gets in the channels. He knows what pass to pick out. He knows what bit of footwork to use. He's just come on leaps and bounds in terms of his footballing brain. He's a very, very intelligent player for his age. And he's so quick as well. That one particular run in the second half, which I think the Wolves Portuguese account tweeted out, actually, where he just picks up the ball in his own half and runs all the way to the Arsenal box. You know, he did it against Bournemouth. He's done it against, I think he's done it again this season, because I picked it out on a particular fight on the Final Word, I think, or some podcast or something. He does it so often. He just gets the ball and he drives at players, and they really couldn't handle him. I think if he'd have got a goal or an assist, for me, it would have been a pretty much perfect performance, and obviously he didn't, so that's why I put him at a 9. Some people might think that's generous, but I genuinely thought he was unplayable yesterday. Even though Bellerin stopped him several times, he still had a brilliant game, which I think says it all, really.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't actually spoke much about the actual events of last night's game. Obviously, Arsenal taking the lead. It was a bit of a shaky start for Wolves, but look, finally turned right on half-time. The penalty, red card, Tom, was that the right decision, and should it have been a red card as well?
Well, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of Arsenal fans complaining. I can understand their reasoning, but the thing that people have to understand is that the double jeopardy rule was brought up. The double jeopardy rule is brought in if the player makes an attempt to win the ball. You can't send them off. Now, the question is, people were saying, well, there's no intent, it's accidental, but the question of intent isn't there. It's whether he's made an attempt to play the ball, which he hasn't actually done. He's accidentally knocked Jose's foot, who was excellent, by the way, Jose. I thought he was really, really impressive. And it's put him off balance. If he doesn't make contact with David Luiz's knee, he's not going down. If you actually look at the replays, David Luiz goes down as well afterwards. So he's clearly taken some contact on his leg. I can understand why Arsenal fans were frustrated, because, if we always, with the double jeopardy rule that was introduced a few years ago, you always think, well, why is it a red card and a penalty? Because I thought that wasn't the case, but it's the case that he didn't make any action to win the ball. Ironically, if he'd slid in and wiped Jose out, but got a bit of the ball at the same time, he would have probably got a yellow. Or he might have got a yellow, because he had made a genuine attempt to play the ball, and therefore the double jeopardy rule kicks in, I think. So, yeah, it's one of those. I do think it was a penalty, although if it was given against us, I'd be angry, but understandable. But brilliant penalty by Neves as well.
Yeah. Yeah, great penalty. And finally taking the lead, early in the second half as well. What a strike that was from Coutinho. I think we'll struggle to find a finish as good as that all season, won't we?
Yeah, I said on my match review that it was his first fan reaction, that it was his first goal since United. Someone did correct me in the comments saying he did score that free kick against Bournemouth, which, to be honest, I completely forgot about.
That was a great goal as well, yeah.
Yeah, and so all three of his goals have been, by and large, very, very good goals. Very Neves-esque. It reminded me a little bit, I know it's not the same technique, but it reminded me a bit of the Neves goal against Espanyol. Just the way he sort of got it out of his feet. Similar position as well. It was really good to see him, because I've given him a bit of stick as well. I think a lot of people have, because let's be honest, he has been really under par, and he was really poor in the first half as well. But the second half, after he got the goal, no coincidence, his confidence completely shot up, and he went back to what we know he can do, which is dictate the tempo of the game. Every time he gets the ball, it's those quick passes. He's so intelligent as a footballer, but I think him himself knows that his body maybe last season has really taken a toll on him physically, because he's 34 and as a midfielder in that position, it is difficult, particularly because he's on the smaller side, to really sort of keep up sometimes. And I think a presence like Otasawi or Dendoncker is more beneficial, but fair play to him second half. I thought he was brilliant after the goal, and I thought he deserved the credit that he got, really.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years is probably top, maybe second in terms of the most appearances for the club. So, like you say, I think long term that's going to take your toll, especially for someone at the sort of latter part of his career. But I think that's what we want to see, a lot more goals. Both goals from our central midfielders yesterday. And I think if we can start, relying on those sort of players for more goals, Moutinho, we very rarely see have a dig from that sort of position, really. So the fact that he's had a go from there and scored, I think that bodes well. And hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that, because I didn't even realise he could get that power behind the ball, to be fair. With some of his performances recently, it's always backwards or sideways. So it was a lovely strike. And then finally, that red card for Leno. I mean, for me, it's a stonewall red. I'm not too sure if there should be any complaints about this, should there?
No, I don't even think... No, I mean, no Arsenal fan was complaining about that. I did find it quite funny what Wolves put on their TikTok account.
I think it's been deleted now, apparently.
Have they really? Wow.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Well, I went on TikTok half an hour ago-ish, and it was still up. But yeah, that's I don't know. I think it's funny. Our account is a little bit
it's cheeky, isn't it? Somewhere.
Cheeky. I was going to say something else, but I don't know. Yeah, no, it was stonewall red. To be honest, I was a little bit disappointed we didn't score when they had 9 men. I thought that we maybe could have gone for the kill a little bit and just cut the game off, get the 2-goal lead and solidify from there. Vitinha could have scored. I do want to talk about Vitinha a little bit, actually, if we have time, because I thought he was superb. For a player that's had such limited game time, he's made every sort of minute count, really. Every time he plays, he looks bright. He's very much a mix of Neves and Moutinho, and a bit of Pedence as well. I think he's very much a mix of those three in terms of he's got the technical ability and the footwork and the agility of Pedence, but he's got the brain. He's got the potential to have the brain of Moutinho and the passing as well. Gets the ball, takes a couple of touches, passes it off. He wastes no time. He doesn't try and do any stupid flicks. He can do them. We saw him doing it against Chorley, but obviously doing it in the Premier League is a different thing altogether. And he does do it. He's played well against United. He's looked good when he comes on. He looks energetic. And I think he's really the perfect backup for Pedence in that number 10. I think if those two really start to pick up some form, I think that we do have two very decent number 10s, really, 2 decent attacking midfielders. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he develops. I would, if he continues to play, I hope we exercise the option to buy him. I know it's 20 million, which is a lot of money, but I genuinely think that he could be another sort of Pedro Neto. That we don't really know much about him. Has a promising first season, then second season just bursts into life. Bearing in mind he's had no pre-season, he's a young player. I think he's brilliant, really.
Yeah, I think he's got a big second half of the season coming up, and if sticks to that formation, he may get a lot more opportunities. Tom, it's been a pleasure chatting again, and obviously that was your final word on Wolves 2, Arsenal 1, and fingers crossed, mate. We'll chat to you after the Leicester game, and fingers crossed it's another 3 points there as well. Yeah,
tough one, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Nice one, mate. I'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, chat to you soon. Take care,
everyone. Mate. Bye, bye. Well, big thanks to Tom for jumping on the Talking Wolves final word. We've got Glenn in the chat as well as an Arsenal fan. He asked me for my prediction, 9 points from 15. That's one win. Hopefully, Glenn. Hopefully. I know another set of Wolves fans that spoke to Glenn as well earlier this week. We've got the guys from wondering about Wolves YouTube channel. How's it going, guys?
All right, Dave.
Good, thanks.
Good. It's great to have you on. Obviously, been keeping track of your YouTube channel. Really pleased to see more people coming into the YouTube scene. So, keep it with the great work. What did you think of yesterday's win?
You want to start?
Yeah, well, at the start, the first half, we were shaky defensively. They kept attacking. But as the match went on, I think we did get better. In the second half, we was lucky as well. They got 3 red cards.
Yeah.
And when we was against 11 men, we did not look up to our standard, did we?
You can look at the game in different sections, can't you? You can look at it up to the sending off. And if you analyse that part of the game, that's worrying. Because Arsenal was having so much freedom in the middle of the park. Partey was receiving the ball, having the time to look up and dink the ball over the top. Our defence was 5 yards or so too high, too much spacing behind for Saka to run into, and there's no pressure on the ball in midfield. That's a deadly combination. If you've got no pressure on the ball in midfield and your defensive line's a tad high, you're asking for trouble. You can do one or the other, but you can't do both. If you're going to squeeze up, there's got to be pressure on the ball in midfield. If you're going to squeeze and get the pressure on the ball, that's fine. But if you sit deeper, then you can afford not to pressure the ball in midfield.
Yeah.
What we was doing was the cardinal sin of a little bit high and not pressuring the ball in midfield. So that was where I think the root of our troubles came from. Party was able to dictate the play, knock the ball over the top. They kept getting in behind. We could have been 4-0 down. You know, Patricio made a couple of good saves. The post, there was the disallowed goal where like Lacazette was like that much offside. So that section of the game was very worrying. Did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, in the first half, we had some let-offs, didn't we? Could have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, that like I was saying. But then after that, by say 30 minutes or so, there was signs of us coming into the game.
Signs of hope.
Yeah, there was a green shoot of recovery that we was gradually feeling our way into it. And then once we got the penalty, everything turned. Then it's the complete, the game's gone the opposite direction altogether. Because once we get the penalty, we score and David Luiz is gone. We're on the front foot, we're dominating. And then when the second sending off happens, we dictate it. Then they don't get a sniff. What did they get, like 10% possession or something after that? So analysing the game, I think you need to look at it in sections. And although it was a great win and we're delighted, to get 3 points, I think we've got to keep in mind that the first 30 minutes or so, there's still issues to look at. And when we did do very well, we was only against 9 men.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the buzz of yesterday's win and getting 3 points, I think everyone was really excited, and sort of when everyone settled down a little bit and actually looked at the game, you're thinking, right, first 30 minutes, we've really got it, the win almost papered over those sort of cracks, didn't they? Because, we were very, very poor. Do you think the back four, though, is that the way forward for, if Wolves want to attack and score more goals, is that the way, or is it still too shaky defensively?
It is the way to go if Nuno wants to play an attacking brand of football. If he wants to play on the front foot and he wants to get at teams, by all means, go for the back four, Podence, and then go with Traore, Jose, Neto. If that's the way you want to approach things, and we're going to go for things head on, and we're not going to be conservative, certainly. But I think there might be game. I won't be surprised against Leicester, for example. I won't be surprised if he just went to a back five again. I don't think he's going to settle on one of these formations. I think he's going to use both depending on the opposition. I think he's going to look at them, analyse the strengths and weaknesses, and see what formation he believes will nullify them and give us the best chance of winning. So I think we'll see, as the games go on, chopping and changing between the two formations.
Yeah, I agree. Raya, what did you think of that goal in the second half? Matinho, great goal, wasn't it?
Oh, it was 10 out of 10. Amazing goal. It was Neves-esque, wasn't it?
It was Neves-esque.
Hit the post, went in. We was all just standing up like, whoa.
Yeah. When he got it, he shifted it, and I said, he's going to shoot, he's going to shoot. I could see the way he shaped his body, he was going to hit it. I didn't expect it to go in. With Matinho's record of shooting, great. So I didn't expect it to go in. But, he caught it sweet as a nut, and no goalkeeper's keeping that out.
Yeah, really, really sweet strike as well. And the red cards, what did you think about that first one? Do you think it was a red card for Arsenal, or do you think they're hard done by?
I think he just clipped his foot. It was accidental, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's karma.
Yeah,
from that side.
It's karma, yeah, you're right. It's a little bit of sweet revenge for the clash of heads. But by the letter of the law, I completely understand. He's the last man, he's denied a goal-scoring opportunity, and when you go through the laws of the game, it's textbook, you can go off. But looking at it as a football fan with common sense, if I was refereeing the game and I'd had to abide by law 1A, 4C, I would have given him a yellow. I would have given a penalty, and I would have given him a yellow card because it's an accidental clip. I didn't think it was a cynical clip where he's tugged him, pulled him, or took his legs from under him. So I would have gone with a yellow, even though I know I'm wrong technically by the letter of the law. But as a football fan who's grown up and seen the laws change and everything, evolve to what we've got to this stage now, for me, I felt a yellow card would have sufficed. The second one, obviously, no doubt.
Oh, no.
That's a red card.
He was out the box. He just went to try and grab it.
Yeah, he panicked.
And Adama was coming.
Adama was there, yeah.
Thinking, I'm going to grab it.
I think Adama would have caught that. I know some people say, I don't know if Adama would have caught it anyway. But that guy's like a bullet.
Oh, you saw him against, was it Palace?
Yeah, when he got back, his speed. I think he could have got on the end of that, and then you've got an open net. And I think that's what Leno thought. He misjudged it. It skidded off the wet turf. And then he panicked, seeing Adama coming, used his arm outside the box. Definite red card, no complaints for that one at all. And the Arsenal fans can't even complain about that one.
Yeah. I thought in real time he headed it quite nicely out the pitch. And as soon as I saw the linesman flag, I thought, right, he's done something here. And then he's hooks it away, hasn't he? It's a proper punch out as well, isn't it? But I think you're right. I think he's obviously misjudged the flight of the ball, and the Adama was on that if he missed that. So yeah, I mean, Wolves controlled that game in the end. Are you gutted that we didn't go for it a little bit more? Do you wish we maybe scored? I mean, Manchester United, I mean, you're not going to get many examples of 2 games with teams getting 9 men, but we saw Manchester United absolutely thrash Southampton yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah. We were saying that they need to get another goal.
Vitina had a really good chance as well. He put it wide.
Yeah.
He should have got that.
He should have scored. That was our best chance to put the game to bed. And like Tom was saying earlier, I like Vitina. He's a good technical player. He's got nice feet. I think what's holding him back a little bit in the minute and why Nuno don't trust him quite as much, he's having the same problem as Silva, Ait-Nouri. It's the physicality of the Premier League. He's only a slight little fella.
Yeah.
And he's got the technical ability. He's got good feet, a good brain. He gets into nice positions. I think it's just the physicality at the moment that Nuno's concerned about with the likes of him and Silva and Ait-Nouri, that they can handle the physical demands of the Premier League week in, week out for 90 minutes. But he's a good player. He should have scored the chance. We should have put the game to bed. And earlier on as well, they had 9 men for like 20 minutes or so, didn't they?
We should have done that, shouldn't we, with that?
Especially because we didn't want a nervy end to the game. It's happened again where we...
free kick.
Yeah.
Right at the end, I know.
The goalkeeper comes and launches it. You're like this, watching it through your fingers, because you're just thinking, this is sod's law now. It's going to be like a late goal. They're going to scramble it in, and we're going to end up drawing 2-2 when we should have put the game to bed. But thankfully, that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And then thankfully Wolves held on for the 3 points. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the Wondering About Wolves YouTube channel as well. Fairly new to YouTube, and like I say, it's great to see some more faces on the Wolves YouTube scene. So yeah, guys, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm sure I'll chat to you very soon as well.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Okay, thank you.
See you guys. Cheers. So, guys, that was the Wondering About Wolves YouTube channel. Like I say, you can check those guys out, do sort of previews and reviews as well. And keep your comments coming in as well about last night's game. We'll move on to our next guest now, Mr. Tom Rouse. Tom, how you keeping, mate?
I'm all right. They were good, weren't they? Those two then.
Yeah.
Some next generation competition there for you, Dave.
Hey, I know. It's good to see the YouTube scene. I think I don't know if you saw that young American lad who started uploading the videos as well, and I liked his reaction to the Martino goal yesterday.
Yeah.
It seemed like he knew more about Wolves than half of our fans did, to be fair, than some of the stuff I was watching. But yeah, mate, it's 3 points for Wolves finally yesterday. I know it's been a sort of strange old few weeks for Wolves, but what did you think of that win last night?
Well, like I assume has been said already, a very, very scary couple of minutes at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But as soon as that, I don't know how you felt, but as soon as that one hit the post after 35 seconds, I thought this will be our night now, because that's the kind of thing that goes your way. And then, even with the offside one, you think, it is going to be our night. And it did take a lot to go in our favour. But I think we, on balance, I don't think we deserved it. I think it was a little bit of daylight robbery, but I don't agree with what your man from Wondering About Wolves just said there about David Luiz not being cynical. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. But he's something like 3 red cards in his career at Arsenal, which has only been a year. And he's been sent off for very similar things in the past. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that he just needed to get close enough to Willian Jose for him to clip his heels, and it would look like he had nothing to do with it. He knew exactly what he was doing. It was 100% a red card. But it was a very nervy penalty as well. Neves had to wait a long time to take it, but took it so well. And there's a lot that's come out then in the last day or so about his sacrifice that he made to stay with the Wolves over these coming games. And he's proved his value to the team with that goal, and the rest of his performance. I think he played pretty well yesterday as well.
Yeah, it was solid. And I think the midfield, I mean, when I saw that midfield come out, I think I was the first to admit it on my match review, that João's inclusion. I was a little bit worried about that because I thought he was poor against Palace. But he proved me wrong with that strike in the second half. And well, what a strike that was, mate! It took over one of the best goals in recent years, isn't it?
Absolutely, but not just the goal. I think his all-round performance yesterday was superb. I was saying before the game that he's the kind of character that would have sat down with Nuno throughout the week and been really honest with his performances recently and how disappointing he would have been with them. And I think he's managed to rectify that a little bit. And you could see how passionate he is, the way he celebrated the goal, and
Yeah,
perhaps
big
he has
fan,
been watching the YouTube and looking at Twitter the last couple of weeks, because he would have got to him, and he would. I was listening to the Athletic this morning, and Spears saying how his powers are waning. He's getting older. It is something that he's going to have to get used to, and he's not happy about it. And you can see the hunger in him to prove that he is still a top quality player. And once they went down to 10 men, that's when he started to really shine. But yeah, like you yesterday, as soon as I saw that the lineup, I was really worried about just having two in midfield. I'm desperate now to get another body or a more physical presence amongst the two. People were talking about Otasawi perhaps playing. I don't know whether it's a little bit too early and the pressure's a little bit too high at the minute in terms of our league position to give him a good run. But we certainly need to have a look at different options in midfield going forward.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yesterday didn't really require, obviously, the energy that was needed, because by sort of second half, they were down to 10, 11 men, and I think that they part the bus, almost not part of the bus, but couldn't really break into our half at all, really. And I think it was very, very comfortable. I think I can like I said, to wonder about Wolves, I think, we've all looked at that United result and seen them smash, a ridiculous amount of goals and thinking, we wish Wolves did that. But at the same time, Nuno is desperate for a win, and we can't be risking opening up and trying to go for the kill a little bit more. So I think we did enough, obviously, to see out the game. But he went with the back four yesterday. I was surprised personally. I thought he would stick with the back five. But do you think that was pivotal in the win, or do you think we could have, if the situation was the same, we saw a couple of red cards, Wolves could have still won it with the five at the back?
That's a very good question, and I can't really answer it because you can't see how the game might have unfolded differently in hindsight. But it would have been so annoying. Imagine going down to 9, Arsenal going down to 9, and still keep 3 at the back. Because that's what Nuno would have done. But I was frustrated, like you just said. There was 20 minutes when they were down to 9 men, and we didn't. I mean, apart from that chance from Vitinha, I don't think we got in behind them. There's a couple of really good moments where we kept possession for a long time. And it wasn't just like when we kept possession against Chorley and it was sideways and backwards. It was positive. They were moving off the ball. There was like hustling, really quick play in the midfield. And that was telling in how the confidence had changed. And, internally as well, they'll all know that they were quite lucky yesterday to have beaten, 9 men of Arsenal. But sorry, Dave. But they will take the confidence from the result, and they will go on and hopefully get something good against Leicester. Sorry, Dave.
It's all right. People coming in midstream as per. What did you? I know. I think it was your dad actually commented about Semedo on the videos, because there was a lad that wasn't too happy with his performance and felt Doherty sort of offered more all round really as a player. And I think your dad sort of said the same sort of thing when he was commenting yesterday. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, he definitely agrees. He definitely doesn't like Semedo. If the game ends 1-0 and it's Semedo's fault for the goal, everybody's talking about Semedo again for the wrong reasons. But on the whole, I think he probably is getting better. But he's still making these one error per game, which is leading to a goal, and you can't afford to have a fullback doing that. But I think he did offer quite a lot yesterday, and particularly when they went down to 9, which I know, you shouldn't really be saying that about a player, that he came to life once the opposition were depleted somewhat. But he did link up a lot better with Traore, I thought. And there was a couple of points where you thought Semedo could have got into the box and had a good chance. There was one where there was a quick 1-2, I think, and Semedo found himself in a really good position, but didn't end up falling for him. I don't think he was as bad defensively as other people did think last night. It was definitely a fault for the goal. What him and Neves were doing, head tennis on the edge of your final third. It's pretty foolish, but we managed to get away with it in the end.
Yeah, and I felt his combinations with Traore improved a lot. I thought Traore's improvement in terms of work rate and getting back was a lot better yesterday, and running at players as well. Is that I know sort of you made a couple of comments last time you were on about him, but they're the type of performances, aren't they, that he needs to be putting in sort of week in, week out?
Yeah, what I was frustrated about more so in the last couple of weeks was the lack of effort. There was a bit more effort last night from Traoré, but his final ball is still lacking. Some of his crosses, of 10 crosses that he puts in, one might land on somebody's head. The rest of them sort of go vertically up. They're very odd the way that he crosses the ball in. And I know that last season he spent a lot of time working on his delivery into the box. It perhaps suggests that maybe he's focusing on something else this season because it doesn't seem to be as effective. I know that Jimenez is not there, but the quality of the ball in to somebody like Willian Jose, it was over his head by a long, long way, or it was too slow into the box. But it was better yesterday, but I still would sell him for 10 to 15 million.
No, God. All right, with that, you're getting off now. No. Tom, thanks a lot for jumping on, though, mate. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully we'll catch up after the Leicester game as well, mate.
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect, mate. See you later. Right, that was Tom Rouse. Again, another member on the Wolves YouTube community, the old Gold and Black. You can check out his stuff as well. And we move on to our next guest now. We've got Mr. Ryan Lester. Ryan, how you keeping, mate?
How you doing, Dave? Yeah, good. Much better now. Feel much
Yeah,
better than this time last week.
I know, exactly. I mean, we spoke last time and we just sort of didn't know what direction the club was going in. And you were a sort of big advocate for that back four. Nuno went with that yesterday. And do you think that back four was pivotal towards the win? Or, I mean, it certainly helped with getting more bodies forward, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think the four played a massive part. I mean, at the start of the game, it looked like it was going to be a long night for Wolves, particularly on the left-hand side for Kilman, who I felt a little bit sorry for. But I think when you're down to your fifth choice or fourth or fifth choice left back, then things are going to be tough, and that's desperately unlucky. But I've seen quite a few people on social media talking about, well, you should beat 9 men, but equally, those two players don't get sent off by magic, and Wolves being more positive, putting your opponents in a position where they're going to make mistakes, one-on-one with the keeper. I mean, it's a fantastic little roll ball from Podence and a perfect time run from Jose. And Semedo, who I heard you talking about earlier on, a lovely little clip ball down the line that forced the keeper out of the area. I mean, it was a ridiculous mistake, but if you put quality balls forward and put them in positions, and Traoré frightens the life out of people, so his presence and Semedo's ball, so yeah, that as a result of a 4-2-3-1 really positive performance. So I'm you know what, we rode our luck, and the first sort of half of the season, I felt like if it wasn't for bad luck, we wouldn't have had any luck at all. So I'm delighted.
Yeah. Well, like you say, I said the same yesterday. We forced both of those errors from Arsenal yesterday. It's not like they threw in a 2-foot tackle in the middle of the field. We forced the ball into the box, and we played that ball over the top and forced Leno to come out. So, like you say, that they're forced errors, and that's because we were getting bodies forward and causing Arsenal issues. What did you think sort of overall of the attacking performance? So, we're second half, we got that goal, Martinho, which was huge. I think getting that early in the second half, put so much pressure off us. But did you want to see Wolves go for the kill a little bit more, or were you just happy for us to see that game out because Wolves really needed the 3 points?
I mean, I've never been so nervous in a game when we're playing against 9 men. It's just, because of the recent run and bad luck, you're just expecting it to go wrong. But we're talking about top pros, Jack Martinho, Ruben Neves, Willy Bolly. We're talking about proper footballers that they know how to manage a game. We've built success in the last 3 years in winning games by the odd goal here and there and seeing games out because we've been defensively solid. And they believed in that. And the chance to knock the ball around a bit would have built their confidence. I mean, would I have liked to see them go and kill the game off? Yes. But then we could be talking about now is, did we need to kill the game off and invite them forward and give them that space? So it's touch and go. I mean, as soon as we got that goal, it was about managing the game. But it was nice. I felt it was reasonably comfortable. They had sort of one block shot, I think, in the probably second minute of injury time. Otherwise, it looked quite comfortable for Wolves. So, in terms of attacking, I think they got the job done. I heard you, the guy before, briefly talking about Semedo and Adama. I thought those two looked good on that side of the pitch, but they probably should with the numerical advantage. Second half, I thought Adama was tremendous. Missed maybe a little bit of quality in terms of the final ball, but the way he was roasting Cedric again and again, and threw him, round him, past. It was brilliant. That's the Adama we love, and it's that kind of attention, that performance is going to make other teams try and double up on him, and that'll open up, and there'll be a misbalance there, and it'll offer more space for Podence and for Neto. So great to see last season's Adama back in action.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned earlier a little bit about Max Kilman. Obviously, him playing on the left-hand side of the defence yesterday, mainly because, like you said, because of the injuries. Now, say for argument's sake, when Marcel, Aït-Nouri or Johnny are back, you'd expect them to slot straight back into the left-back role. But where would that leave Kilman in the back four? Does he deserve to be playing alongside the likes of Bolly? Or, is Cody still going to be that first name on the team sheet for Nuno?
It's a great leading question, that is, Dave. I like what you've done there. I've said it before. I'm convinced with it. I think 4-2-3-1 is the way forward for us. And I think in a back four, it's a real gamble to drop your captain. But I thought Cody was okay last night. I didn't think he was particularly great. He was very poor the week before. I thought he was quite fortunate to keep his slot in the team. So for me, the main two contenders for a four in a centre-back would be Willy Bolly and Kilman. I think just because of Kilman's very comfortable on the ball, wants to play out. Willy Bolly's good as well, but it's the dominance step. They're like, both of them 6'4", 6'5", they're monsters. Yeah. And I think in the back four now, look at Burnley. It's not a great example, but they've got proper centre-backs, proper defenders. So, yeah, I think for me, if Marcel is back fit, I think it's moving Kilman over and partnering him up with Bolly. But it's a massive shout dropping Cody, isn't it? Then what does that say? Dropping your captain. He's been such a figurehead, leading figure for Wolves. It's a massive call. So I'm not sure if he will drop him yet, but I would put Kilman and Bolly together.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying the same sort of thing. To be fair, the comment as well about this one here, Vitinha. Do you think Vitinha needs to start ahead of Podence, who looks rather annoyed at being taken off? And obviously he said the same as well. Cody out for Kilman and Bolly to start at the back four. Vitinha obviously came on yesterday in a little cameo, had a good chance, which obviously he missed. But he's a player that I think is slowly growing in confidence. We're a little bit like Neto last year. It took him a while to get going, but this is a big sort of period of the season now for him, I think, if he wants to stay at Wolves. What do you think about that? Do you think, for me personally, I think Podence still starts, but what are your thoughts on Vitinha so far?
Yeah, I think Podence still starts. I think that sort of floating 10 suits him quite well with his quick feet, and a perfectly weighted through ball yesterday. So it'd be harsh to drop him after setting up the penalty for William Jose to win. But Vitinha, he showed lots of nice touches. He can clearly play football. Did he have more space than he would have had usually yesterday? I think he did, but I think in the long run, maybe. But he's clearly a very gifted natural footballer that's got bags of talent. Physically, I'm not sure he's quite ready, but in a game like yesterday, when he's got a bit of space, it was great. But for now, I think Podence is the man for that number 10 slot.
Has Vitinha done enough at the moment, and even with his possible potential? Do you think he's done enough at the moment for Wolves to trigger that option to buy him just yet, or do you think you need to see more of him in a Wolves shirt?
I think I need a little bit more. You could say 20 million in today's market isn't a lot of money, but we're Aït-Nouri, 20 million, Vitinha, 20 million, Fabio Silva have already paid 35 million. 75 million quid. We can't just be splashing the cash around, especially with I know we were in European football and we were nearly almost triggering the sort of financial fair play from our championship season. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough, by the way.
It's all right.
So I'm not sure yet. I know we've lost a couple of players who've gone to Portugal and sort of showed us up a little bit because they've been successes, but releasing someone for a minimal fee compared to signing someone for 20 million, it's a big risk. I haven't quite seen enough yet. Maybe we will in the second half of the season, but for me now, if I had to make a decision to say today, I probably wouldn't sign him.
Yeah, no, I think he has still got a lot more to prove. And then finally, the red card calls for you. That one on David Luiz, that one's causing the most debate. For you as a fan looking at that, do you think the referee's made the right decision?
I think we all know that David Luiz, trying to be as polite as I can, he's He knows the dark arts well. He's a smart footballer in terms of he knows the game. I'm not saying his decisions are the most intelligent, but in terms of being savvy and knowing football, he knows the game. He knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't break stride. The player cut across, and I mean they both went clattering to the ground. So there's no doubting that was a penalty whatsoever. For me, it's intentional and it's definitely a red card. There was no intention to play the ball. He ran into the guy. You know what? I think he's been really clever, and I genuinely believe on other days he'd have got away with that. I really do.
Yeah.
I think, when the referee does this and they're crossing over, but yeah, I think that's definitely a red card for the keeper. I mean, what's he doing? What? That's proper Sunday League stuff. I mean,
I know
he's a great shot stopper, but I mean, I know we're drifting onto Arsenal a bit, but I don't think they've got a keeper now. I think their keeper, the reserve keeper, Ryan's out. I think they play Villa the weekend, and that lad that came on. So it's.
Did you see him against City?
Yeah.
Last time he played.
I mean,
That's what I was
Villa
hoping for
must have got that the
yesterday.
weekend now, and it's typically they've got the keeper, who incidentally, when he was on loan at Wolves, Martinez, I don't think he'd make it a top flight keeper because he was letting in long ranges all over the place. But hands up, I was wrong. He's been fantastic. I know we're digressing to Villa, but yeah, in terms of the red cards, I think they were both spot on. Yeah, so I mean, look at some of the decisions we've had this season. If it wasn't for, I said, bad luck, we wouldn't have had any luck at all. So I'm delighted. We may have got away with one. We may not have deserved it, but you make your own luck, and we were more positive. We forced them into mistakes, and we took advantage. So I'm absolutely delighted with the win.
Yeah, exactly. I know Arsenal have appealed the Louise Red, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome of that one as well. So yeah, who knows?
Is that a 3-game ban for him then? If it's a straight red there?
Straight red, yeah, free game, yeah. But I don't know how it works if they appeal and it gets rejected. They used to have grounds to extend it.
It'd be great if you went to a 4-game ban.
ban.
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't really like. I know you mentioned earlier on about the use of the karma in terms of it, talking about David Luiz again, but there's no way he meant the challenge that injured Raul.
No,
but he was certainly reckless in what he did.
Yeah.
And I think he was. I mean, if you put a tackle in that was that badly timed anywhere else on the pitch, that's a red card, and it was completely overlooked because of Raul's injury. But it felt like the books did get balanced a bit. I mean, karma might be a bit strong, but it was to see him as the focal point of their downfall was very. I'm not going to pretend I didn't enjoy it because I absolutely did. And
you saw in that reverse fixture, we had a penalty. Well, that Adama.
He got booked for it, and that was outrageous. And
exactly.
that's something about VAR that you have to look at to say, well, a player has been wrongly booked and we haven't got a penalty, but because clear and obvious, I've said it, you've probably seen me bore people a million times on Twitter. I'm not interested in clear and obvious. Was it a foul, yes or no? That's all I'm interested in. Not as he blindsided or he couldn't see that. Foul, yes or no. And it really is as simple as that for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ryan, it's been great to chat again, mate, and hopefully.
Sorry about my cough. Hopefully, it's nothing too bad.
It's all right. It's all right, mate. And fingers crossed we can get another 3 points at the weekend.
Yeah, big game. It's going to be tough, but I want this positive side again. Maybe bring in, maybe move Semedo over and bring Hoover back into right back. I think would be my preferred choice for the weekend. But let's see. Thanks for having me on again, Dave.
Yeah, no worries, Ryan, mate. I'll chat to you soon. Thanks a lot, mate.
Okay.
Cheers. Big thanks to Ryan for jumping on there, giving his thoughts on yesterday's game as well. Earlier on, sorry, I did flag it very, very quickly. Apology if I missed it. Harry as well for the donation there, £2. Hope Matt Cooper's doing well. Yeah, he's very well. Speak to him very regularly, and he should be back on the content from next week. So yeah, really appreciate that, mate. Next guest up is Mr. Harry Mansell. Harry, how you keeping, mate?
Yeah, good day. Cheers. Better than the other night.
Look at that trim there. Look at that Daniel Prudence trim that Harry's got there.
I went for it, didn't I? I went all out for the Arsenal game. Good luck charm. Wash straight off. If you could see it closely from the back, it looks terrible.
You got to do that before every game now. For grade one all over again. Refresh it. No. Get the Prudence little tram lines on the side. That's what you got to do as well. Yeah, but Harry, that was a great win yesterday. Great to finally get 3 points anyway. What were your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, well, obviously the first 20 minutes or so, I was like, it's the same again, boys. We're going to lose. It's going to be depression again after the game. But I think the massive turning point is the penalty, isn't it? Because we were getting battered up until that point, really. Arsenal could have been 2 or 3 up. We got lucky with the VAR decision, thankfully, the one when they were offside before they actually scored. So bizarre, really, because Kilman left back got rinsed, didn't he, early on? And I was shocked that we were 4 at the back, to be honest. Because we're all over the shop, aren't we, with the chopping and changing with the formation at the moment with Nuno. He didn't have to go 5-4. He went 4. It worked away at their place, so he probably had that in mind. And it backfired for the first half hour, but thankfully, that red card and that penalty and a great penalty by Neves got us underway, didn't it? And we had to win from there then.
Yeah, I mean, huge win. Obviously, great to get a bit of confidence through the side as well. Kilman playing at left back. I mean, when the team came out, I expected sort of a back 5, to be fair. So I am surprised, obviously, to see that. But I mean, Kilman, other than these sort of shaky moments early on, I felt like on the ball and so on, he looks really decent, didn't he? And, you know, Cody again, a lot of people in the chat talking about his position. And I asked Ryan the same question. If we get a couple of left backs back, or when Johnny's back, for argument's sake, what do you do with Kilman? Is he just going to sit back on the bench for you, or is he the type of player to get in ahead of Connor Cody?
I'd lean towards putting him in ahead of Cody. I think at centre back he's been good when he's played, especially in the 5. Like you say, he's comfortable on the ball. That's because of his futsal background. I'll get that in. No, he's comfortable on the ball, well, and he plays. Yeah, speaks Russian as well. But no, he's a decent player. He really is. But obviously, left back's not his position, so he really struggled because he's a bit flat-footed. Kept going over his head, didn't it? And they kept getting in. But yeah, I would look to put him in there, especially if we do go with the 4 at the back, him and Bolly, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the presence and up for corners as well. You got 2 boys there, 6'3", 4, 5 plus. You know, that'd be huge for some set pieces. But you know, we rode our luck, but we finally we got our own little bit of luck towards the end of that first half. Good ball in for Willian Jose, who I think you put your house on him scoring, but he, you know, brought down by David Luiz. You know, that is all I've seen on Twitter today about that decision. But look, what were your sort of immediate thoughts on that?
Immediately, I thought, penalty. When he got sent off, I'll be honest, Dave, I was a bit confused with the rule because obviously they cleared it up at half time saying it's a red because he didn't go for the ball, I guess. If he'd have gone for the ball and mistimed it, then it's a yellow. But because I suppose if it was a bit further back and he just ran across and clipped Willian Jose's legs to stop him going through, it is a red, isn't it? So I can see why it is, but I thought the double jeopardy rule would come in. And obviously it isn't in that situation, weirdly. Bit confusing. I can see why Arsenal...
It's a bit of a grey area. Yeah, I think that's what Arsenal, unfortunately for them, that is such a grey area for the penalty. But if you are going by the letter of the law, it is a red card.
Yeah, it was... Well, he was David Luiz, so I weren't too bothered. I was glad he got sent off. But it's been a bit crazy what's been going on social media today. I don't know if you've already spoke about that, but... terrible, but mate, I'm glad he got sent off. I'm glad Neves scored the penalty because I was a bit nervous if he missed that. And yeah, I'm just glad we went on to win. I know we only got 1 more goal and we made a bit of a meal of it, especially when they went down to 9. But just the win was the most important thing, no matter the circumstances.
Yeah, and then second half, Big Zhao. I mean, he's getting a lot of stick over the last couple of weeks, but that strike, mate, for that, you know, early on in the second half to give us a lead. What a hit that is! Oh,
mate, great goal. It's just come out of nowhere, didn't it? I weren't expecting it. He never really shoots, and I think, God, how many goals he got for Wolves? You can count on one hand, can't you? How many goals he's got for Wolves? So for him to pull that out was astonishing. And I've heard a lot of people say about his celebration as well, and I agree. That was good to see, wasn't it? He was really passionate about that, wasn't he? And that was probably a bit of frustration coming out. And we all love Moutinho, but I wanted him to be dropped for that game. I was shocked when he started. I was shocked it was Dendoncker that missed out. So, but that's a good choice by Nuno and keeping him on at half time as well. Just saw people calling for him to come off at half time too. So fair play to Moutinho, and let's hope he can get a confidence boost off that. I guess
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it reminded me of you on Pro Clubs, that strike, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got some Luke here, Luke Davis. Obviously, he said it was a definite red and penalty. What are your thoughts? We've not really spoken much about Willian Jose today. What are your thoughts on his overall performance today? Last night, rather.
Yeah, really good. I like the look of him as soon as he come on against Chelsea. Just the presence of him. He's a big lad. He holds up the ball, and Adama was whipping some balls in. I'd like to see him get on the end of some of them, hopefully. And it's a shame that he didn't slot away that one-on-one and got tripped up, although I'm glad that Louis got sent off. But it'd been nice to have seen him score because I thought his performance deserved it. And I think a bit like the Fabio Silva situation I kept banging on about, if he does get a goal, cliche thing to say, I think he'll go on a little bit of a run because he gets in good positions too.
Yeah, he got into great positions last night. And I think he was just almost being too unselfish, like the way he was passing the ball off. He got himself in some fantastic positions, and maybe if we see a bit more of a ruthless streak from him and a little bit more. I think he just needs to be a little bit more selfish in front of goal. But he sacrificed a little bit for the team, and I think just having that presence up there, Harry, just the link-up play was much better, and I think he's just bringing players into the game a lot more, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. That's the key thing. I know, like Fabio and Catrone couldn't do it, so we've missed it. And obviously, relying on Pedence to be like the false nine doesn't really do it. So, 100%. Nice little fancy flicks. He always tries little flicks, doesn't he? Like on the edge of the box to play people in. And yeah, I like him. I think it's a good signing from Wolves. I'll be honest, Dave. I'd never heard of him, and I didn't know what to expect. And I really like what I see from the few games he's played.
Yeah, and a lot of people will judge him on those goals, but we've seen the last sort of 2 games, and even against Chelsea, the sacrifices that he's made to bring other players into the game, and hopefully we'll see him get his first goal against Leicester at the weekend. Again, Toby's asking about the Kilman situation. I've asked a lot of people that question about Cody and Kilman, Toby, and if we get a left back in, it seems like a lot of people are hoping for Kilman in for Cody. Kilman's very rarely dropped a poor performance, really. So that's one of those there. And Vitinha as well, Harry. A lot of people have been talking about him today. Obviously, had that good chance in the second half. What's your stance on him at the moment?
Yeah, he played well when he came on. Played really well. Obviously, it helped. Didn't have many players on the pitch, but still, he can look good at times. But has he shown enough to sign him? I don't know. Is it 20 million we'd sign him for if we did actually buy him at the end of the season? I think he needs to show a little bit more. He's still a young lad, but out of the bunch of lads, including Fabio, I'd probably say he's shown the most promising signs, really, out of the ones that have come in like over 8, Nori and people like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think this sort of second half of the season now is huge for him. I think 20 million at the moment for his performances is that a little bit too much, but obviously we don't see, Monday to Friday and what goes on the training pitch, really, and he's obviously a player with real promise. Porto fans are really disappointed to see him be let go on loan to us as well. So fingers crossed. We've seen videos of Fabio Silva straight after the game yesterday, back in the gym, trying to bulk up, and I think, if Vitinha can do the same sort of thing, get on a bit of muscle weight and, get himself about a little bit more, I think he could definitely have the potential to be a good footballer. Mitch in the chat as well, he thinks 20 mil at the moment is a bit too much. But life is a joke as well. A nice name. His potential is bottomless. He doesn't play enough. He needs more game time, which is fair enough. I think there's so many players with sort of question marks over their futures at Wolves. Aït-Nouri is another one as well. He's blown too hot and too cold for me, Harry. I think Ryan Aït-Nouri. I think is he the one? 20 million for him. Do you think that's still a little bit too much for him? Has he proved his worth yet at Molineux?
No, but it was weird because obviously his first game in he scored, didn't he? And we all got really excited. But he's good going forward at times, but very, very weak defensively. But you could say the same about Semedo, who's like a 30-odd million pound player. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Aït-Nouri will be signed. Really, I don't think he's shown enough. Vinagre weren't much different, was he? So I don't see much difference between the two, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, again, a lot of people saying 20 million for Aït-Nouri, no thanks as well. Aït-Nouri is awful and clumsy, at least Semedo attacks. Yeah, I think just Aït-Nouri's just not quite got that experience there just yet as well. So yeah, just one of those things, unfortunately. But yeah, fingers crossed we see Johnny come back into that role soon. He's back in training by the sounds of things. So fingers crossed we see that. But Harry, it's been a pleasure speaking again, mate. Another 3 points for Wolves, and hopefully we get a win against Leicester on Sunday. What's your score prediction ahead of that one?
I'm going to have to be realistic, Dave, and say we'll lose 2-1.
Well, let's hope you're wrong and we win 2-1. So.
Yeah, hopefully.
The options. You remember when we went to the King Power? Remember that was when the first game of the season.
That was the start of the VAR disaster. Yeah, that was in the back of your car. On the way back, going mad at Robbie Savage. Oh my god! Yeah, that was funny.
That was brilliant. Mate, bring back those away days. Hopefully, sometime.
Yeah, I know, man. That's what I miss, Dave. That's what I miss so much.
Brilliant. Right, mate. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening, anyway. And I'll chat to you very soon.
Cheers for having me on. See you in a bit.
Harry. See you later, mate. Yeah, that was funny. It was the first game of last season, I think it was, King Power Stadium, when the Dendonka got done for handball. And Harry called up, was it 606, moaning at Robbie Savage, having an argument with him. So I can see him laughing there in the corner of my screen. Brilliant. Any last minute score predictions for that game? Robert is going with a 3-1 win for Wolves against Leicester. Hopefully, we'll see that. Mitch isn't too confident now. He thinks Leicester will do us. Look, they're a good team, but again, they're another team that are sort of, they're blowing in there hot more than cold, but they're still dropped a couple of clangers this season. So, and I felt we were in it against them last time, and fingers crossed we can do the same this time. A 0-0. I'll take a clean sheet. What formation would everyone go for? Would you go with back four with that one, or back to a back five? Keep up the good work. Be great to see you bigger than AFTV. I mean, AFTV, the biggest there is at the moment in terms of these fan channels. But 2-2. I will take that as a draw. 1-0 Leicester. More VAR jam. You know what? Probably every game since VAR has come in, we've had VAR controversy against them. First game we had the handball. The second game against Molineux last year, remember, which was about 11 months ago when we got done for an offside. And then this season as well with a handball decision as well. 2-1 Wolves, which I'd take as well. A 1-1 Willian Jose scoring. It'd be great to see Willian get on the score sheet. Vardy's injured. I saw that, but apparently they were trying to aim for his return to be this weekend. So it will be interesting to see if he is back in there. A 5-2-3 WWFC would go back to the back five there. Mitch would go return to the back four. If we turn up, we can win 3-2. I mean, it's just about Wolves turning up. Sam Hughes with the back four as well. I'm trying to be positive, but hopefully we try and get more than a 1-goal lead and then sit back. I know we rode our luck massively yesterday, conceding the first goal and, Arsenal hitting the post and having that disallowed goal as well. Imagine a 4-3 like when Nuno run on the pitch. That'd be class, but not for the nerves. Yeah, I don't think my nerves could handle that game. 3-4-3 for Alfie. And a 0-0 for WWFC. So, guys, fingers crossed. Obviously, Wolves can get a win. We've got loads of content still planned for the rest of this week. We've got a video coming out tomorrow about former Wolves Young Players of the Year, which is quite an interesting one. And then, obviously, back with the match previews on Friday as well. Who would I play at left back? Oh, I don't know actually. Hopefully one of the left backs is fit. That was up the Moose asked that as well. Hopefully one of the left backs is fit, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what I'd do about that situation as well. But yeah, fingers crossed. We get back to winning ways. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Big thanks for tuning in again. I know there's lots of football on today, so I appreciate you popping in and saying hello. And we'll be back. Like I said, video out tomorrow, preview on Friday. And we'll be back for the final word. We may do it Sunday night, actually, on the evening of the game. So be sure to check that out. And be sure to hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to Talking Wolves if you haven't already, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch you boys very, very soon.